Hey everybody, welcome to Geekoholics Anonymous, episode 112. I'm your host, Rico, here with my co-host,
Dane Cody.
We get together once a week, talk about video games, movies, TV, and or whatever the hell we like. Obviously, mostly video games, and lately, mostly E3, as that just happened.
It's kind of a thing that was going on.
Yeah, and I'm back. Rico's back. Yeah, man. I actually listened to the podcast from last week.
Yeah.
I like that fucking calling in from this. It totally sounded like I was on a phone handset, like calling in from the field. It sounded pretty hilarious.
Yep, we were quality was a little bit different than our listeners are used to, I think. But
yeah,
I think it was still great. I mean,
I listened to it, and it wasn't total cringe. It was absolutely listenable, and it was pretty obvious that I was on location.
There you go.
I didn't even heard the gunshots. Well, the one gunshot, not the first one.
Did you ever find out if those were actually gunshots or not?
I don't know, but apparently 2 cop cars were stolen that day.
Oh.
And there was like big like police chases. So yeah, LA.
There you go. That's
we were not in a bad location. I wouldn't say we were like freaking in Beverly Hills, but
all right. Well,
yeah. Anyway, before we get into funny story time with Rico,
yeah,
because we pretty much just dove into press conferences, and I randomly sprinkled in some of the games I had played as we talked about the press conferences.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot more games to talk about. And then I have some funny... I didn't tell stories, but I'm going to tell a story about the trip because there are some really, really cool, interesting, and funny things that happened. So I feel like I should share them.
Fair enough.
But before we even get into that, welcome back, everyone. Welcome, new listeners. If this is your first episode, thanks for giving us a shot. Hopefully you enjoy our antics. Usually, we start the show with what you've been playing. Then we get into some news. Not a lot, obviously, with the fallout of E3 still happening. Everyone's still decompressing and getting over that chaos. Then we get
news coming out of there still, here and there, and stories that were figuring their stuff out and whatnot.
Exactly. And then we get into our public service announcements, which don't really have any this week, and our free for all section, and sometimes questions, but I forgot to ask for questions, so I'll try and get some questions for next week's show. But before we even get into that, this is Geekoholics Anonymous, and you can't be a geekaholic without being an alcoholic. We open the show with our...
I like alcohol.
We open the show with our designated drinking section. And
Rick, what are you drinking tonight?
I am drinking a Crown and 7.
Wow. Look at you changing it up.
I have a big-ass bottle of Crown down here. It's going to last a while, so...
Psh, you're not doing it right.
So, well, I'm doing it right, but it's a big freaking bottle.
Texas Mickey style, or?
Not that big, but it's a...
Oh. It's a 1 liter?
Is that what it is? Yeah.
Oh.
1.14 liters. What do they call that?
A big old bottle of Crown.
What's a 26er?
26 ounces? I don't know.
But this isn't 26 ounces, though. Now I just sound like an idiot. Anyway, I got a big-ass bottle of Crown I'm drinking to myself, so...
All right, fair enough.
What are you drinking, Dane?
I'm drinking soda water and vodka.
Nice. Actually, remember a couple weeks...
This is that vodka that I was telling you about that I infused
the one
with cherries.
For like 1,000 years?
Yeah, it's been about 3-ish years, give or take.
This is really good.
So it's unfortunate, though, because now it's that peak drinking stage, and now I'm almost out of it.
No.
In hindsight, I
should have made more.
Get more cherries, and yeah, exactly. It's going to take me forever to make more now. The flavor is really in there now, and it's so
that's awesome,
yummy, but it's not overpowering. Like, it's just this faint flavor of cherry in there. It's delicious.
So, remember when I was drinking the wild berry in Bombay?
Yes.
So, a listener hit me up with an awesome name for that drink. Because remember, it's a non-existent drink. It's just my wild berry and Bombay Sapphire gin.
Yes.
It's called the Bomberry. That's the name. I thought that was pretty awesome.
That's pretty solid.
So it only works with Bombay gin, but Bomberry, that was pretty good.
Fair enough.
So now I have a name for that.
That's a decent name, man.
And that listener would be my brother-in-law. He texted me like right away. He's like, "You're an idiot." He's like, "This is obvious." And I'm like, "Oh." I'm like, "That's good. That's really good."
That's solid.
Yeah. So I'm back. Adjusting to normal life of not the crazy excitement of LA and E3. It feels so weird. It's always that like readjustment, like, oh,
I have to go back to reality now. I don't get to go travel to the next one and hang out with all these crazy peeps and stuff.
It's not like overdosing sensory overload on video games 24/7. It's like, oh, I gotta work and back to mowing the bloody lawn and
back to reality.
Yeah. So I didn't say any stories last week, but I think most people know I kind of went on a last minute trip. I did explain that I won passes to E3, essentially. I think I alluded to that from Sony.
No, I think you flat out said that.
Yeah. So I know I mentioned that part. Did I mention the part about that I didn't have a place to stay and went on Reddit and found a total stranger who said I can crash on their couch?
Well, I know we talked about it, but I'm not sure if we talked about it on the show.
Okay, well, I'm talking about it on the show. So, yeah, part of the deal was I could have always gone to E3. I got the money, but it's expensive. But to go by yourself, E3's dope, but it's not $2,000 to go by yourself dope.
Right.
So I got the free pass, and then I'm like, oh, well, I guess I'll look into airfare. I'm like, oh, man, this is really cheap. Like, this is historically cheap. This is like half price, essentially. I did talk about that last week. But then I'm like, well, but the hotels are all... There's nothing downtown. I'd have to stay far away. It's going to cost me $800 American, which is essentially, like $1,200 Canadian. I'm like, it's a lot of money. So I went on to Reddit and was like, hey, I scored a badge. Anyone have a couch or a floor I can stay on? So like the E3 subreddit.
Oh, okay.
And a guy reached out to me like pretty quickly and actually hit up a bunch of other forums, which I didn't get like any responses from, which was kind of lame, but
it worked out for you.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I guess it's kind of weird, getting a total stranger to come stay with me. And I'm like, yeah, I'd totally hear you, man. I'm like, so I sent him my Facebook and my Twitter, like, my information's out there. Like, you can get a good sense of who I am. I don't hide a lot because obviously being on a podcast and pretty active on the internet, my life isn't too private when it comes to me. Like, my details are all out there, what I'm into, what I'm like, and stupid shit I've done on the internet. So I guess he went and looked at it, and then he responded back, and he's like, what the hell? He's like, my buddy bailed. You can sleep on the couch. No problem. And I'm like, fucking A, I'm booking a ticket. I'm going to E3 for starting $320 Canadian. That's ridiculously cheap.
Yeah, that is really cheap.
And then he sent me the address to the place that we were staying, and it was like a swanky, amazing condo in downtown LA, like a block away from the convention center.
Oh,
I was like,
that's sweet.
I was like, holy fuck, I've just won the lottery. I got a badge, I got super cheap airfare, and I got a guy letting me stay at his place for free, like walking distance to E3. That's amazeballs. Like, that's the ultimate. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, no
At
kidding.
this point, I'm just like, I'm destined
to
not
go to E3.
I'm destined to go to E3. All these pieces just slid in and fit together perfectly. And I'm like, fucking A, sweet. So we became friends on Facebook. We're chatting on Messenger. his name's Jim. I don't know if he's going to start listening to the show or not, but man, he's a huge... If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have gone to E3.
Right.
Basically, his coworker bailed.
Man.
He got bumped. So he was originally going to go with his coworker, and his coworker got bumped and forced to work.
That sucks.
Yeah, his coworker is a doctor, and another doctor had like a family emergency, and it's like, yeah, well, you have to work.
Oh.
So he's like, shit. Well, I already paid for the place, and he paid, his coworker paid for the place. So that's also why he kind of was like, oh, I guess, you can stay on the couch, otherwise I'm going to be going by myself, which is kind of weird, which has never stopped me in the past from going anywhere. I've gone to E3 by myself, I think twice now, maybe 3 times. Technically this would be the 3rd time because I did go by myself. I just managed to meet a lot of really cool people and hung out with the whole time. But for him, he's like, oh, then I have someone to hang out with, and he's a gamer, so we're in Reddit. You clearly have stuff in common already, right? To a certain degree. So yeah, his buddy bailed, and that's kind of why his motivation would be, fuck it, you can stay on the couch, and then I'm not by myself in LA, trapped, and being bored. Essentially, I can have a funner trip, right?
Right.
He turned. Up until I got to LA, I had a lot of anxiety because I'm like, this could be a troll on the internet for all I know.
Right. This could be like
thing. And I thought about it, and I was like, well, I'm prepped to pay for a hotel if I have to. I don't really want to. I hope that doesn't happen.
Worst comes to worst, I can do that.
Worst comes to worst, I have a rental car. If I can't find a place, I'll sleep in the goddamn car. I'll figure it out. This is me. I always find a way. But yeah, no, he showed up, and then he's like, we got a problem. I'm like, uh-oh, what? He's like, our Airbnb just canceled on us. So
really?
The Airbnb he booked 4 months ago canceled while he was flying into town.
What?
Yeah. Talk about a big F you.
Wow.
So he lands, and we meet up at the hotel and pick up the rental car, and he's like, we don't have a place. He's like, what the fuck? He's super upset because he thinks I'm angry, or I don't know. I think he might have thought I was choked, but I didn't give a shit. I was staying somewhere for free. I ain't going to freaking complain. I always had the positive vibes, like, it's going to work out. We're going to be fine. Because, like, they canceled on us, but we had his credit from Airbnb. Like, he got 100% of his credit back. So it's like, oh, we just got to book another place. No problem. Right? It's not as dope as the place that was right downtown, a block away. And I guess the guy who canceled on us realized it was E3 and canceled on us and relisted his place for like double or triple. And just because I'm sure he got a penalty for canceling last minute. I'm pretty sure
he probably made it back because everybody was freaking out trying to get to E3.
I'm pretty sure Airbnb probably dinged them at least 50% or 100%. I don't know, like canceling as a host. I don't know what kind of... There's got to be a punishment, right?
Yeah, I would think.
It's like they're trying to be a legit business competing with hotels. You can't fucking just cancel. And like, imagine if you fly to another country and there was nowhere to stay and they canceled on you. That's ridiculous. That's
always why I'm a little bit concerned to use Airbnb, to be honest.
And to be honest, that's also why I didn't book anything, because the only stuff that was available when I was looking at going by myself were Airbnbs, and some of them seemed too good to be true pricing-wise. Right. And I'm just like, I've heard nightmares and stuff, and I'm like, I don't want to get down there and get fucked and then be on my own, because then it's going to cost me, right?
Oh, for sure.
Anyway... Yeah, we got screwed. He was upset. I was more like, whatever, we're going to find a place. It's going to work out.
Yeah.
So we start jumping on the internet looking for another place. We find another place. Not too far away. Looks like a decent condo. We book it. Sweet. The guy calls us like within minutes. He's like, hey, that place is not available. I don't know how it was like listed on Airbnb.
Right.
And we're like, oh, right. So our money was tied up with this new booking we just made, and then this guy's telling us it's not available. Like, rad.
Awesome.
And he's like, well, I have another place which is actually closer to the convention center. Here's the code and the map, or the address. I'm like, okay, fine. That works out. So we
Sweet.
So we go to this other place, punch in the code in the lockbox. There's no key.
Are you serious?
We were like, oh, for fuck's sakes. So we start texting and calling the guy. No answer. Radio silence for 3 hours. At this point, we're starting to get pretty upset. It's 7 or 8 o'clock at night.
I'd be pretty choked about.
Yeah, so we're missing
Airbnb at this point.
Oh, dude, I went on Twitter and started ranting and raving, and they called us, but like it didn't matter. The damage was done. At this point, it's like, hey, we just need to get somewhere. We're tired. And we got some cheap ass hotel. We didn't know that in the end, after all our bitching, like Airbnb paid for the hotel, the one night stay.
Right.
So had I known that,
nice.
I would have stayed somewhere nicer, but it didn't really matter. It was just for one fucking night. We didn't want to spend a lot of money because we're like, well, fuck, we have to get a place. We'll just split it, right? And we'll book an Airbnb tomorrow when, it's 9 o'clock at night by this time. Anyway, we ended up getting a place, but talk about a disaster. Like, I've had friends tell me they've had no problems with Airbnb after this incident. Like, we had a place in the end. It was all free. It worked out. It was great. But at the same time, the amount of hassle that first night was like...
I imagine the amount of stress you both were under. Like,
I wasn't stressed because I didn't care.
Right.
I think Jim was a little stressed because he was like kind of on verge of like, this trip's ruined. And I'm like, no, dude... Once we get on that show floor tomorrow, this is all going to be a joke and we're going to laugh. And it's exactly what happened. Because our fucking trip, our trip was amazing. So we ended up getting a place. It all worked out. But man, I'm just really weary of Airbnb. Like after that incident, like that's just too inconvenient. Like, and they're not that much cheaper than a fucking hotel.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, I've had some friends of mine that use Airbnb quite frequently and they've had some very up and down experiences. Like some of the places have been great. Some of the places have been
they don't even match the pictures. They're total ghetto.
But others of them, they were just like, oh yeah, it was awesome.
I think it's like anything, right? Like it's just, it was just a bad luck. It probably had to do with E3 and how busy it was. And some of the hosts being greedy dirtbags being like, oh man, I fucked up. Like I should be charging $500 a night as opposed to $200 a night.
Yeah, no kidding. We're like, I'm this close to the convention center.
Yeah, I could be charging like freaking
a gajillion dollars.
Yeah. So that I really hope that guy got fucked, like or some kind of karma or something. I don't know. I think as a first time user, I really think Airbnb being as big as it is, I think they need to do a better job. They need more accountability. As a host, I don't think they should be able to cancel on you with less than a month's notice.
I think it all depends on how long before you're booking. Like I think if you book 4 months out, then like you should be able to only cancel say a month. But at the same time, you're talking about these are people's houses, so to be totally honest, like shit happens. You never really do know.
I guess
you might think like maybe their trip fell out, like, you know what I mean? Like maybe it's a situation where, I mean, in this particular case, I'm sure it's not, but I'm just saying that there are situations where people were like, hey, we're going to go on vacation for, 2 weeks or something like that. And so we'll Airbnb our house while we're gone and kind of help cover the cost of going away. Yeah. And then something happens and they can't go, so now they have to cancel the person who was planning on staying. Like, because like that,
I'm pretty sure
at the end of the day, that is what Airbnb is supposed to be about, right? It's supposed to be about, this is my house and I do live here, but I want to make money when I go away, make a bit of money when I'm not here. Unfortunately,
I think we just had
it's like Uber where it gets,
it's luck of the draw.
I think too many people like fucking buy houses just so that they can send them out to, I'm going to Airbnb this whole place all the time.
Yeah. It's so like, a word of caution. It worked out in the end, but man, we could have really got screwed. But yeah, fuck. Jim turned out to be totally awesome. He's, he's into a lot of the games that I like, very similar tastes. He was a totally cool guy. He basically made the trip possible. I called him my patron. So that was awesome. There's another funny story. There's quite a few funny stories. I literally had so much good luck on this trip. It was like stupid. Sorry, we're gonna get talking about video games. I got a lot of video games to talk about, but this is some cool shit. So first day, like, we're going to the convention center in the rental car. And I'm just like, get my hands, and I do like the fake movie take two clap action. And I'm just like, right. E3 2017, take two. Because our first night was kind of like a write-off, right?
Right.
And we're going to the convention center, and like, I thought the entrance was like around the block. And I was prepping to drive around the whole building, like, when I got to the convention center, and it's like,
right,
this guy like stopped in front of me halfway past the entrance. So I just stopped and let him back up, and he turned in. And then as he did that, I noticed, I'm like, oh, this is the parking entrance. That's why this guy wanted to go in here.
Right.
And I wasn't choked or upset because we were going slow, right? Like, this was immediately after a right turn. So he pulls in, I pull in behind him. We go into the parkade. We pay for parking. And we park next to him. And then, of course, it's E3, so everyone's super talkative, like, hey, how's it going?
Plus, it's the first day of E3, so you're both like, yeah,
it's,
cool.
Is this your first E3? And this is the first day, and this was around, I want to say around 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock in the morning. And the convention center actually didn't open until 12.
Oh, wow.
On the first day. It opened late. I don't know why, because they actually didn't have media hours on the first day, where in the past they've had media hours. I think they've had like 2, maybe even 4 one year, but there was none this year. So that was kind of weird. And anyway, we start talking, introducing each other, and talking about what we're excited to see, where you guys from, yada yada. He was a local. His name's Joel. Super cool dude.
Nice.
He lives down there. And he's like, oh yeah, well, you guys want to go for breakfast? And I'm like, sure. He's like, yeah, let's go this way. He's like, there's a really awesome Mexican place over here. And he's like, no one effing knows about it. It's super cheap and it's really good food. We're like,
nice.
Sweet. So he took us to this, like, maybe a block or two west of the convention center.
And he didn't murder you, so that's always good.
No, he didn't murder us. He's an old school, he's more a retro gamer and collector. He's got a lot of old systems, old games. So he took us to this place called Lucy's, which was awesome. We ate there every day.
Nice.
Breakfast and lunch. It was like traditional Mexican restaurant. It was so good, and it was super cheap. And in between there and the convention center, there was actually a 99-cent store where actually everything is $1. Not like our bullshit dollar stores where some stuff's $2, $3. Everything's a effing dollar.
Right.
So we get like water and drinks from there on the way to the convention center, gum, whatever, because it was super cheap. Yeah. Whereas everything else in LA Live, like downtown LA is like under a reconstruction phase right now. There was, I think there was no less than 10 high-rise cranes going up. There's tons of like big mixed-use residential and commercial space going up there. It's totally in a revitalization period now. Like, I think in like 5 years, it's going to be unrecognizable, which is good because like the first E3 I went to at the convention center, you didn't want to hang around downtown. There was nothing there, and it was just a shit hole. And it's getting nice now, which is kind of cool. So the stuff that does exist is all expensive stuff because they're right by the convention center and the 5-star hotels, right?
Excellent.
So there's no cheap food. There's no cheap anything, right? So this was a cool trick that he showed us. And yeah,
it's good to know.
We're talking, and he's like, we're talking about what we all do for work. And he's like, yeah, I work at Disneyland.
Oh, like, sweet.
Cool. That's awesome. I'm like, I'm going there on Friday. With a few people from the convention here.
Yeah.
And he's like, sweet. He's like, I can get you in for free.
Oh, really?
I'm like, what? I'm like, are you serious? He's like, yeah. I'm a cast member. He gets so many uses a year of like other people he can get in. Like he can get in for free anytime.
Right, obviously, yeah.
But he can get other people so many times. And I'm like,
it's like friends and family passes
I'm like,
or whatever.
You're kidding, right? Like, you don't have to do that, dude. I'm prepared to pay to go to Disneyland. Don't worry about it. And he's like, no, I'm serious. And like, and left it at that, right? It's like, I didn't want to be a total mooch, right? I'm already staying somewhere for free, hanging out with some cool guys, you know, that they made my trip funner because I was also not by myself the whole time, right?
Yeah, for sure.
You know, first day, I don't think I had any appointments the first day. I can't remember. No, we really had nothing. We just had, on the first day, Microsoft had an open house that we were invited to after the fact.
Right. Okay.
After the convention center closed. And I went to this the last time I was at E3. I was invited to this. Basically, here's the booth, but only people that have been invited. Right. So it was busy, but it wasn't busy. You can essentially walk up and play any game. And if someone was playing, you had a much shorter wait. You were waiting for like one person to do their demo, right?
Right.
So that was awesome, right? That's where I got to play like a lot of games, was because of that event. And they had food and all this stuff. Actually, when we got there, they gave me the wrong badge holder. I don't know if you noticed in photos, a lot of people had the fluorescent yellow badge holder. Those were public people. Those were the people who paid to get in, like the public. That's not to say there's other people who pay to get in. Exhibitors and business and retail people pay to get in. Because there's a couple levels E3. There's always been, it's a trade show, right? So it's always been open to trade. If you work in the video game industry or a related outline industry, you can get into E3. This has not been a secret, right?
No.
You work at EB Games, you file the right paperwork on time, you can get into E3. They might have made that a little harder, but that's how a lot of people, get in that aren't super business side of the industry, right? That's a known thing. That's not a secret, right? And then of course they have the business passes that people actually buy that include like special meeting rooms, and you're going there to conduct business, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Make deals, sign,
buy some games and make some
you're going to buy games, you're going to sign distribution deals, you're going to do whatever you do, right?
Right.
So they gave me the wrong one, and I'm like, at first I didn't care, and then I'm like, I noticed after going to a few booths that the booth workers looked at people with the public badges different than anyone else, and I'm like, I got to get my right badge holder, because it even says what color you're supposed to have on your ticket.
Oh, really?
And I don't know if you've seen my photo gallery. I actually posted my badge on there.
I saw that.
Which is really hilarious, because I was an Expo Pro International. It was a violet badge holder, which is, to be honest, I think it's the most rare of all the badges.
Oh, okay.
Because I think it was just a comped business pass. And then they had the industry, which were blue, and then media, which was yellow, and then the exhibitor, which they had no color. They just had like a big logo on theirs for the security guys to tell that they were exhibitors. Because the exhibitors were allowed to go in and out of the hall, I think, anytime.
Right.
Like, even after the show floor closed down, they were allowed to go to their booths and stay in there after it closed. So yeah, it was after I got my proper one, it's like, okay, now people aren't looking at me funny. Not that anyone, to be honest, when I went to appointments or talked to people, no one even looked or cared about my badge. Because most of the people I was going to had appointments with, they already knew me, right?
Yeah.
We only got some
true.
guff when we went to the Microsoft thing. Like, even with Jim and Joel, they came with me to a bunch of my appointments.
Oh,
and
nice.
no one cared. They were like, no, it's cool, man. It's fine. We didn't all play. Like, sometimes they didn't play anything because there wasn't like multiple kiosks, right? But some of the demos were multiplayer.
Not entirely uncommon, even with you and I.
Yeah, like some of the demos were multiplayer, so they got in. Because we needed players to fill out the ranks anyway, because there wasn't even enough people sometimes. So
nice.
The only time it was an issue is when we went to the Microsoft thing, and it wasn't Microsoft; it was the security guy, the convention center. Went to Jim. He's like, "No, you got to go. You can't come in." I'm like, because he had the yellow badge. And I'm like, no, he's with me. We've been invited. He's like, no, he's not allowed to come in here. And I'm like, we've been invited. He's coming with me. He's fine. And the guy's like, I'm not supposed to let any of those in here. I'm like, it doesn't matter. This is a private event we've been invited to. He's coming with me.
Right.
And then he's like, oh, fine. Okay, go. And I was like, he's the only guy who cared. Just a stupid peon security guy.
It's probably because somebody told him at some point,
no yellow badges.
Make this, yeah, exactly. Don't let this through, and that's kind of all you can do, right?
Yeah, it was really funny. I really liked my badge because literally I am the Expo Pro International.
Right.
Yeah. So, geez, like Jim was like, his mind was blown because you know how we go to PAX and stuff. Like we have a very different show than most people. That's why like we were kind of weary about the public going in here because the huge lines and the long waits and so forth. I wasn't annoyed by it because I had appointments, so I don't care that it was crowded. It didn't affect me. I just needed to be somewhere at a certain time, and I was playing my games, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Some media were poo-pooing it, and we're like, oh, the public. The only thing I have to complain about the public that has nothing to do with the public being there is the complaint with the ESA and E3 itself not making it. They sold passes, but they didn't come up with a plan to accommodate for these people.
Yeah, I heard that was the biggest complaint, like you said, was from other people that were there and stuff that I talked to. They said like the public being there, they could care less about. It was the fact that
the aisles
they did
were
nothing to accommodate the extra 15,000 people that they let in.
They weren't designed
by changing like booth designs or adding more floor space or doing anything to try and help that.
Yeah.
Like all of the booths were
the same as
exactly
always.
The same way.
It was like any other E3, big elaborate booths, not many demo stations. It's like the ESA is like, okay, we're selling badges, but then at this point it was so too late for anyone to make accommodations in their booths to, cater to the people who had paid to be in there, right?
Totally.
I don't know if Nintendo made some concessions. They must have, because they literally had 60 demo stations for Mario.
Wow.
Like that's more than any convention we've ever gone to. So clearly they were thinking about it. But I think like Destiny 2 in the Sony booth had, I want to say 12 stations.
Right.
They had like 4 stations of Detroit. They had, I think, 12 stations or 16 stations for Battlefront 2. Like, that's not a lot.
No,
especially for like demos that are like 20 minutes, half an hour long. That's
you can't serve
a lot. You can't serve a lot of people. It's and then they had like empty space, or they had very elaborate booths. In my opinion, I think it's pointless. Like, what's the point of a big dragon? It does nothing.
Yeah, it looks cool.
It looks freaking cool, but I'd rather have 20 more stations of your game so I can play it.
Yeah. I mean, we get a little bit of that at PAX because a lot of those things are going to end up at PAX.
They just don't have enough demos. But the thing is when I was in the convention hall, in the back corners, there's tons of empty space.
Mm-hmm.
So what I really think they need to do for next year, which I'm sure they're going to, because they're probably going back to the drawing board and going like, how do we make this better? Well, all that empty space, you just need to give everyone who paid for a booth extra space so they can stretch their booth out to create more walkways or to create more space for demo stations. And you don't charge them for it because that was space that no one rented. So you're not losing money, right?
Right.
There was a lot of space in the back
so
areas.
It's just very inefficiently set up.
Well, yeah, because you bought your booth space. It was millions of dollars for this booth space, and this is what you get. And then everyone designed their booths like they do every year, not thinking about all the extra traffic, thinking about adding extra demo stations, which cool. The big booths are cool, like the fancy dragons and shit are cool, but I want more stations. Just everyone playing games, not having to wait. Like the longest wait at a show like this should be like an hour. Right?
Yeah. Think about when we go to PAX and there's lines for people.
Yeah, there's a 3-4 hour line.
They're 3-4 hour lines. They have to cap.
I think this
because they're like, look, there's not enough hours left of the show.
And that happened to a lot of people
for you to be able to actually see anything.
No, that happened to a lot of people at E3. They wanted to play Call of Duty and they were like waited in line for 3-4 hours, and then the convention hall closed down. It's like, see you later. You wasted half your day and you played nothing. Like, if you paid...
You stood in a lineup to play Minecraft.
You would be choked.
A game that is already out. Why?
Would you not be choked if you paid $250 and you didn't even get to play the game? You sat in that line for hours? Yeah. it doesn't affect me, but I'm just thinking if I ran the show, I want everyone to have a good time. I want everyone to get value for their money. I just think less elaborate booths, more demo stations. And when they don't sell that empty space, you just allow all the booths to essentially stretch out. Because like with a month to go, 2 months to go, no one's going to buy that space at top dollar. You lock down the sales and it's like, okay, look, Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, WB, everyone, you all have an extra 20 feet this direction. So you can all, just kind of pull your booth apart a bit, right? Even if it doesn't amount to more stations or whatever, but then there's more walkways. It doesn't get crowded. Like the Nintendo booth, the first day, you were shoulder to shoulder. It was crazy. Yeah, it was like I've never seen it like that before. It's like
that was the biggest complaint. Was people were just saying like there was a lot of people.
I loved that the public was there because everyone's minds were blown being there.
Right.
They were so happy to be there. It's like been a lifelong dream. So I didn't have a problem with it. I just think next year that hopefully they make some more concessions to just because this show is going to become less and less of a trade show, and it's going to become more of a public show. Because to be honest, they kind of got to go that way. You got to pay the bills, right? You want to make money.
Yeah.
PAX is running away with 3 different shows, making a 4 or 5 if you count Australia and
5.
Yeah,
now.
if you count Australia and Asia, it's 5. But in mainland America, they have 3.
Yep.
And they're not as grandeur or crazy as E3, but they're not far behind. They're like E3 minus the bullshit.
Well, yeah, and
they still have some of the bullshit.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Plus, they have all the panels and the stores and all the stuff that gives you the added value, right? On the outside of it, too. Like, there's so much more. They have the giant LAN party. Like, E3 doesn't have that. E3 did have panels this year, the Coliseum, which were pretty cool because we went to one with Hideo Kojima. And that,
oh, nice. You went to that one?
Yeah, that was really cool.
Sweet.
There was no Death Stranding.
Yeah, he said they were.
But that was a really cool panel. They had lots of panels of directors because obviously they're in LA, so pretty convenient for getting directors and stuff to talk about. And they had some that was cool. It was off site. It was a little bit of a jaunt, which kind of sucked. And it was only one venue. It's not like the 10 panels going on at once at PAX, right? But it's there.
PAX has almost sometimes got too many. You're like, oh, I want to go to that panel,
honestly,
and I also want to go to that panel,
PAX
but I also have this appointment.
Almost have too many panels but they do go late, right? They go after the convention center, so you always have that. After the convention center closed at E3, if you weren't invited to any parties, essentially the show was done for everyone. There wasn't extra panels. There wasn't. I think there may have been some events that I wasn't aware of, but it's not quite like PAX, where PAX has events all night. Even the
PAX
public
goes till midnight, which is amazing. That
even the public are invited to. So it's definitely a little more inclusive. But yeah, E3 was awesome. That show was awesome. I saw everything. We freaking got to play so many games. Going last minute, I don't know. I guess I'm really lucky. Maybe it's because we're Canadian and they have to let Canadian media in to a certain degree. Maybe they don't want me in there, but they just have to let me in there because no other Canadians show up. But I got to see the only stuff I didn't see, and I could have seen if I was willing to wait, but I wasn't because I didn't wait for anything, was Warner Brothers, and that was Shadow of War, which is, kind of a known quantity. It's a sequel, right? Yeah, there's new stuff to it, but it's like, I'm not waiting 2 hours for that. And Bethesda, and same thing, just sequels. So it wasn't I don't feel like I really missed out there. Even the last day, I didn't have appointments with Sony, and our PR rep from Sony, she called me. Well, she actually texted me. It was like, I have some people cancel.
Oh, nice.
And then I'm like, I didn't see your text. I'm like, I missed it. I'm like, oh, crap. She's like, oh, I don't have space anymore. And she's like, oh, come by anyway. And she's like, come by anyway and say hi. And I'm like, yeah, I wanted to anyway because I wanted to meet her because when I first went to E3 in 2013, Sony had their own. You dealt with Sony PR, like actual Sony employees.
Yeah, I remember when we were originally dealing with Sony, it was much different.
And then now they contract out, which is fine, which is what everyone does. It's what Nintendo does. It's what Activision does. It's pretty much what everyone does except for Ubisoft, because they actually have Canadian PR. Of their own. They don't contract it out. So I wanted to go meet her because she's just a name in my email. I've been, bugging for years. I've never actually met her. So it was cool to meet her. She was awesome. And she's like, oh, I can get you in. It's not that busy. And they had like a media space in the back that was literally like super VIP, empty, snacks, food, and demo stations of all the stuff they had out front.
Right.
But with like no lines and comfy couches.
Oh, awesome.
And I'm like, is it cool if my friends come in? Right. And she's like, yeah, let me check. And I told the guys, I'm like, look, this is I told Jim and Joel, and actually we gained another person at this point, Nick, another Disney employee. I told them, look, I don't think I'm going to be able to get you guys in here, so you guys are probably going to have to go fuck off. And they're like, oh, that's cool. And then she's like, oh yeah, it's fine. So all three of them came in.
Sweet.
And
very nice.
Basically you had a little bracelet and you had in and out privileges all day.
Oh, that's dope.
Which was pretty cool. So that's where I played I guess we can get into what you've been playing now.
Yeah, let's talk about what the hell you've been playing, you son of a bitch.
So this is where I played Matterfall, which is a new Housemarque game. GT Sport, the Inpatient in VR, Bravo Team in VR, and this was all in the Sony area. And I actually ran into our buddy Nick from Sony. He was there demoing.
Oh,
he
nice.
was demoing NAC too. We were talking. I actually asked him to be on the podcast. So he said he said to hit him up, and he said he should be able to do that. So
he hasn't been at PAX in the last few years, so hopefully I'm hoping he's going to be there this year showing off NAC too.
Yeah, I think he should be there. I think he said he was going to be there. He says he doesn't know until last minute, right? So he might be there.
Yeah.
He might not. So I played all those. Matterfall, Housemarque, 2D, Resogun meets a Castlevania, Metroidvania type side-scrolling shooter. It's basically like a Super Metroid in the Housemarque style. Crazy neon graphics, shooting, blasting, lighting effects.
When you say Housemarque, I'm trying to think of what other games they've made.
Resogun, Super Stardust HD.
Oh, okay, Super Stardust. Okay, yeah.
They've made a couple other shooters. They had a couple they had the zombie top-down shooter, which is I'm drawing a blank, and they had another top-down futuristic shooter. And they actually make another game I'm going to talk about here, Nex Machina, which just came out on Tuesday on PS4 and maybe PC as well.
Yeah, that just came out.
Yeah. Matterfall.
People are talking about that. Apparently, it's quite good.
Matterfall looks like the Super Metroid we've been wanting for a really long time. It's not procedurally generated. It's like hand designed world. Same kind of concept. You get different power-ups to access new areas of the world and progress. Right. Boss battles. It's got some really cool shooting, dodging mechanics. It was really pretty, very flashy.
How to play?
Like all Housemarque games, it was awesome. Super tight controls, very responsive, and a little bit of bullet hell shooter at the same time, which is kind of what a lot of their things are. It was a cool game. That I'm looking forward to that one. I can't remember when he said it was coming out. I think it's this fall. I have to look it up. But speaking of Housemarque, I guess I'll talk about Nex Machina. I guess that's how you pronounce it. That one. I got a code for that one.
Oh, sweet.
So I came back and had an email sitting in my inbox. Matterfall's August 15th. And it's actually, that one's actually published by Sony. Whereas Nex Machina is published by themselves.
Oh, self-publishing that one. Okay.
Yeah. Cool. Matterfall. You should go look it up. It looks I think it's going to be a pretty good. It's like a mix of Mega Man and Metroid, but Sweet. It has that crazy trademark housemark. Everything blowing up on the screen craziness. Nex Machina. I feel like I'm pronouncing it wrong for some reason. It is a collab with Nex Machina Death Machine. It's a collab with Jeff Jarvis and Housemark. So if you don't know if that name doesn't ring a bell, well, he is one of the creators of, I believe, Smash TV and Robotron 2048, like super old school top-down twin stick shooters, like the original twin stick shooters.
Yeah, pretty much.
Basically, like Robotron's the first. So this is a collab with Housemark, and it is a stage-based top-down shooter. It's like Robotron on drugs, super crazy futuristic graphics. You've got humans that you have to save on the map, just like in Robotron. If you've ever played Robotron, you're trying to save the humans from the enemies. There's power-ups, spread shot, double shot. You get these super power-ups, like a big laser that is on a cooldown, giant detonation bomb.
Nice.
And it moves, it's like little arenas, and then you move to a next arena. And, they're not just strict, like, rectangular rooms. You're on a world. It's top-down, all 3D. It's got that voxel kind of graphics where everything is little blocks and explodes and crazy amounts of particles are on the screen at any given time.
Right.
But the arenas aren't just strict like boxes. It's like you're in the forest, you're in a like dungeon, or like you know what I mean?
Okay.
As you kill the enemies, you go to a new section of the stage, a new room, different layout, different enemy types. You have a dash, which is like your invincibility. So if you get in trouble, you do your dash through bullets.
Right.
You have like a little life bar. You can take so many. Well, I think you can take one hit and then you get a shield. I think you get another shield. I can't remember exactly now. But as you die, you go back a level in power. Kind of like Super Stardust, when you're super powerful.
Yeah,
and Super Stardust.
Powerful, then you get hit, and then all of a sudden you're
and it's like, oh shit, I don't have like the giant crazy guns that I just had.
Right.
It is a cool game, super stylish. Stage progression, big ass, crazy, flashy boss fights, and it's like that voxel kind of graphics. Did you ever play Resogun?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so it's like Resogun, except for instead of a side.
I think that was the first
PS4
game that I played on my PS4, because that, of course, came with the PS4.
That's right. That was the first PlayStation Plus game for PS4.
Yeah.
So it's got that crazy like voxel graphics, and like I said, it's particles and explosions and crazy lighting effects all over the screen. The boss battles are wicked. It's like bullet hell as well. It's just the screen just gets littered with shit. It's super skill based, high score type, old school. Like in the arcades where you're trying to get super high score. It's a really, really stylish game. It's really cool. Robotron is, for me, is like I used to go to the arcades, and that was when I was really little, and that's like my cousins would play that game. And it was, I'm like, that game looks so cool, but it looks so hard. Because literally the screen was just littered with enemies, and it was very difficult. I was not good at that game.
I remember playing Smash TV lots, and then...
Yeah, Smash TV
I remember
great.
playing Robotron, the remake that they did for the N64, actually. I played a ton of that with my brother.
Yeah, it's a really cool project, because this is like Housemark went to him because they're like, Jeff Jarvis also made Defender, and they're like, Defender is like a huge inspiration for Resogun. Like, you want to make a game with us, So that's a really cool story behind it as well. It's a cool game. I really like it. I haven't played tons, but if you like those Twitch top-down type shooters, it's a little different than some of the other ones. I like that it's not like, how do you say? And you know, in Geometry Wars, it was just keep going. And it gets more insane.
Yeah.
I like this because it actually
kind of lose track of everything.
Yeah, I like this because it has stage progression. There's different worlds, and then there's like boss fights. I like that. That's what makes me like it a little more than some of those other twin stick shooters that are just, you know, keep going and it just gets insane and you go as long as you can, right? Until you die. It's a sweet game. I really like it.
Sounds good, man.
I think it's pretty inexpensive too. I want to say it's only like $15. Check it out. I'm sure there's a bazillion videos out there on it right now. Housemarque makes some cool games. They're like, if arcades existed today still in the essence of back in the day when they were quarter munchers, these guys are essentially, they're creating updated classic arcade games, but using all the tech and, you know, and mechanics from kind of games today, right? So in Sony, I played GT Sport as well, the non-VR version.
All right, lay it on me, man. Was it like worth waiting for? Is it solid? Like, oh man, I've been waiting for Gran Turismo on the PS4 since buying a PS4 for crying out loud.
There's a problem. Okay. I got a problem because I'm not the car Gran Turismo guy. This is more your world, right?
For sure.
I know it is a pretty game. I know it is an amazing simulation. But I don't know how to gauge any of that stuff. Like, is this the same as the other ones? Is this better or worse? To me, is this a racing game? I think all the assists were on. The cars looked amazing. Like, photo realistic. Right. It was crazy. The one thing I didn't like, I don't know if it was the course I just happened to pick up. I was in a Tokyo, like, highway course.
Okay.
It didn't look that impressive. Like, it looked good. But actually, the night before, I went out of my way to play Forza 7 at Microsoft. And I'm
assuming you were playing that in 4K on the Scorpio.
And this was in 4K as well. Everything was in 4K on Pros for Sony, and everything was on Xbox One X. I feel like Forza 7 just looked even better. Like,
well, to be fair, Forza 7's only been in development for 2 years, and Gran Turismo Sport's already been in development for how many years?
Wouldn't you think GT Sport would look better?
Well, to be honest, man,
it didn't look bad. It didn't look bad.
Don't get me wrong. I love Gran Turismo. They're amazing. Gran Turismo 2 was one of my all-time favorite games. Like, I played the shit out of that game. And probably more than any racing game. And Gran Turismo 3, I love that too. It was great. But to be honest with you, man, I'm getting so frustrated with that team.
Just waiting,
because they finally released Gran Turismo, what was it, 5 for the PlayStation 3. And we're talking years past when that game should have been out.
Yeah, wasn't it like Forza 1, 2, and 3 or something came out in the time span of the release between one Gran Turismo?
Yeah.
Something like that. It might even be more ridiculous than
you're
that.
thinking Forza. Forza 1, 2, and 3 came out in the same time that it took them to go between 4 and 5.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then between 5 and 6 was somewhat short.
But I think another 2 or 3 Forzas came out in that time span.
Yeah, like we're sitting at the same amount of Forza games. We're at Forza 7 now. And this will be Gran Turismo. This would be 7. Gran Turismo 7 if they were naming them by number still.
So yeah, within two versions or 3 versions of Gran Turismo, we've got 7 Forzas.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Not counting Horizon 1, 2.
I just get frustrated with that team. Like, what on earth are they doing? Because, like, to be honest, the last Gran Turismo game, while great, was not 5 years in development better than a Forza game. Like,
and it was
I would go as far as to say they're pretty close to being on par with one another.
It was also late generation PlayStation 3. The PlayStation 4 was already out.
Yeah, absolutely.
When Gran Turismo 6 came out. So it's hard for me to judge, but just like it played fine. It looked good. But I know when I played Forza 7 and played this one, Forza 7 was like, holy fuck, this looks unreal. Like I really felt like, wow. And I didn't get that wow from Gran Turismo Sport. Though it played just fine and it still looked really good. But I know when I walked up to Forza 7, I'm like, holy crap. This is like, wow. Because the environments in Forza 7 looked amazing. The cars looked awesome in GT Sport, but I feel like when I was actually racing, the environments also still looked amazing on Forza 7. Whereas in Gran Turismo Sport, I felt like it was like, oh, this is just another Gran Turismo.
Right.
You know, when you went to replay mode and stuff, like classic Gran Turismo, replay mode looks unreal. But when I was actually playing, it's like, I don't know. They say it's coming out this fall.
Yeah, fine.
I don't know. I'll probably pick it up because of the VR thing, because it'll be awesome to have a VR racer. I don't know if I'll get Forza 7 because I'm a Horizon guy. So I can't wait for the next Horizon. But even Horizon 3 is going to get a bump on the Xbox One X. So whatever, that's cool.
Yeah, fair
I've
enough.
also been playing that on my PC and it looks awesome. So they had a bunch of VR demos back there as well, which was nice. And nobody was using them. The Inpatient, he wouldn't say it was a prequel, but it's in the world of is it Until Dawn? Yeah, Until Dawn. That horror game that came out last summer. Is that right? On PlayStation 4? So it's a horror VR game with like flipping items in 3D, some puzzle solving. It was a very short demo, so I don't know if there's combat. I have no idea. It was just flashbacks and jump scares. I didn't pee my pants like when I played the kitchen demo, which essentially was Resident Evil 7, right?
Right.
I didn't think it was a good demo. It is going to be a full game, but I feel like it was a poor demo. It was either too short, or I just feel like I didn't get to do enough stuff, so I don't have a sense of what the game was, besides it being like a scary movie. Because I just felt like I was watching movies the whole time, that I wasn't really doing anything.
Oh,
so
okay, that's fair.
I don't know when it's coming out. I'm sure they've probably said more since E3. There's trailers on PlayStation's site on YouTube.
Right.
Yeah, it takes place in a mental asylum. I don't know. I
don't know, because
visually it looked cool. Like I was impressed with the visuals in PlayStation VR. I thought it looked great.
Sweet.
But I just kind of wish I knew more what the game was like. If there's combat, is it just a point and click scary movie game?
Right.
Yeah.
Or is there going to be more gameplay to it?
Yeah. Like, what is the gameplay? Because I really don't feel like I got a good taste of that. And then it was over. It was like seemed really short.
Chances are the game's not overly large or long. So that could very well be part of the reason why.
Is it Bravo Team, or am I getting my names fucked up? No, Bravo Team, PlayStation VR. Bravo Team was cool. It's basically Time Crisis.
Ooh.
Like, do you remember Time Crisis? Popping in cover and popping out.
Yeah, I do.
It's basically Time Crisis in VR.
Sweet.
So you get behind cover. You control. It uses the aim VR gun, which was cool. That felt really cool.
That's the same one that was shipping with
Farpoint. Is it Farpoint?
Farpoint?
Yeah, the one that just came out.
Right.
It's really cool.
I'm still on the fence.
I've never played with that controller. You actually can hold the gun up, like you have your VR headset on, and you're holding the gun up, and you can aim down the holographic sight, headshotting guys. It works really well. You're reloading your clips. You're progressing through the stage by basically, you point your gun at a spot and you'll see a shield appear, and then you'll run to that spot. Meanwhile, you can reload while you're running. You can look around everywhere. You can turn around, go back the direction you came. So you don't have free movement. You're kind of in cover and popping out of cover the whole time.
So it's kind of like a on-rail shooter, more or less?
Yeah, except for it's not dragging you forward. You can go backwards. You control the direction. And it looked really cool. I thought it had great visuals for a VR game. The models were very detailed. The guys on your team looked awesome.
Sweet.
I thought it was cool. Like I said, it's Time Crisis. Because if you remember Time Crisis in the arcade, you pop out of cover, shoot the guys, get back in cover. I believe there was grenades, but I'd never used them because I think I just wasn't listening when the guy was telling me how to use them. More so than the Farpoint game, it actually seems like something I might be interested in. I assume you have to have that gun, so I imagine it'll come out with a bundle. And
could be, yeah.
And that's that was a cool demo. I like that. I was pleasantly surprised. I was actually really surprised and impressed with Sony's just VR push in general. They had like 10 VR stations like in their main booth. They had a VR presence. There was zero Vita presence.
I was honestly really impressed with the like you said, with VR in general. Like, I expected them to have a small VR thing in their press conference.
Nope.
But they took a large chunk of that press conference and talked about VR. Like, I'm feeling much better. I was starting to feel a little bit concerned that this was going to be another Sony side project that kind of gets not enough traction and they slowly give up on it. But seeing the push that they were putting towards VR at their press conference and with the demos and stuff of, people that were there and playing it and things like that, it makes me very happy that they're pushing forward with that.
Yeah, I'll probably pick this one up. I thought it was pretty cool. I'm trying to see when they say it's coming out. But I can't see a release date. I'm looking on PlayStation blog. Yeah, and there's co-op. Me and another guy were playing it together, so you go through the stages together.
Nice.
Which was cool. So we were playing together. The guy was sitting next to me who was playing as well, so we were talking about it after. I don't see a release date. That's unfortunate. That was cool. What else we got? We went to the Spiderman demo. So Spider-Man was not hands-on. God of War was not hands-on. But I didn't see God of War. It was in an appointment. That was like where they didn't have space. It was in an appointment because they actually had God of War. And they had Spider-Man in behind closed doors, which actually had dev-led demos. So those were much harder to get into. Spider-Man was basically the scene that was in the press conference, that whole gameplay section, plus more, and that the guy was actually playing because he was screwing up combos and doing different stuff. So it wasn't just him. It wasn't a video playing and him pretending, because he was clearly in control and demonstrating that he was in control.
Right.
Man, that game is going to be fucking awesome.
I think that
game looks insane. Like, I can't believe the visuals in that game. The graphics are so. I was kind of talking about it last week. The new Assassin's Creed, these games, the level of detail is just getting mind blowing. It's insane.
Looks really good.
Yeah, Spider-Man was awesome.
Am I the only one that was a little bit concerned that looked there's an awful lot of QuickTime events in that Spider-Man demo. Like, a lot.
Yeah.
That was the only thing. Like, I was watching that and I was going like, holy shit, this looks incredible. But there was like this little thing in the back of my mind that was kind of going like, Holy
yeah,
shit,
it seemed
man.
like the fancy combos kind of resulted.
There's
they were
much.
They were very
time.
they were simple ones, so they weren't too annoying.
Yeah, I feel like we've kind of been slowly moving away from that, and like this just seemed like a very surprising sort of in your face again. We're bringing it back, and I'm kind of going like, I don't know if that's a great thing.
It didn't bother me in the demo because I was just blown away at how unreal it looked. The combos he was pulling off were so cool. The environmental interaction was wicked. Smashing guys with items that were in the environment, pulling cranes to knock guys out.
Right.
I don't know if I should. Should I talk about what they showed or no? I guess I don't know if this section might not even end up being in the game, so who knows? They showed like
I don't know what they NDA'd and what they did.
Well, there was no NDA. No one gave any NDAs to anything, or no one said nothing. So, it basically was a demo, and it went farther. It went into a boss fight. They were flying around the city. They showed a lot more of like the swinging mechanics of him swinging around the city as well.
Okay.
And then of course, he beat you. You have this big boss battle. Well, not a big boss battle, but a boss battle. And then the demo ended. And actually, the whole stage, it was really cool because the stage ended, or the stage that I have pictures in my gallery of the helicopter with Spiderman. That's basically from the demo. They ripped that scene and created it in the real world from the demo.
Wow.
It wasn't cool, a lot extra, and there was also like a little nod to like Miles Morales as well.
Yeah, I heard that.
So people were like, "Is Miles?" Well, Miles is clearly in the game, but I don't think it's the Miles you. I don't think Miles is Spider-Man in this. I just think it was just like a Easter egg kind of nod to Spider-Man.
Yeah, because as I understand, you're playing as Peter Parker.
Yeah, you're Peter, and at the end of the demo, after this big scene and stuff happens, you know, these kids are in the crowd, and the one kid just yells to the other, and he's like, "Come on, Miles, let's get out of here!" And then, you know, the screen kind of pans, and he turns around, and it's Miles, right? And then he just runs away. They just happen to be like bystanders in the scene or of when the helicopter crashed and shit, right?
Well, I mean, currently in the current comic book storyline, Miles Morales and Peter Parker are both in the same universe right now. But I think that they've also come out and said that this Spider-Man game is kind of a standalone thing and not really. It's not attached to comic books or anything. It's kind of its own.
It's probably just fan service.
So,
they had some other stuff in there, but I had played. We saw Detroit. I played Destiny. Knack 2 had a couple people waiting. I didn't want to wait. We went back to the Far Cry booth or the Ubisoft booth because I hadn't played Far Cry 5 yet. Okay. So, of course, Stone hooked me up with checking it out. It was a pretty long demo. I want to say it was like 20 minutes, maybe almost 30 minutes.
Oh, wow.
You were freeing this little town. I guess you could basically say it's like freeing an outpost in all the other Far Cries.
Right.
Because when you finished it, the demo ended. But you could
fair enough.
Use the different... You could choose the 3 different allies. I don't know what the name for it is. You had the dog Boomer. Or the pilot guy with the plane. I don't remember any of their names. It's too much information.
So much information.
And, of course, the girl who was like the sniper, which people on other podcasts have already basically call her Quiet with clothes. Because this is what it felt like. You could just tell her where to go. The allies basically felt like Metal Gear Solid 5. You could tell them where to go, who to attack, what to attack.
Okay.
I guess that's the most recent game with AI allies that you control. Yeah, companions. Yeah, so a lot of people were drawing comparisons to Metal Gear Solid, even though obviously very different.
Right.
So I beat it twice in the time and got into the third time, so I did get to try everyone. I think I like the sniper chick the best because you could get her to perch somewhere and she seemed more helpful, or her help was instantly noticeable when she was taking guys out. The dog would take guys out and then occupy guys and give you time to, take them out yourself because he'd jump up on them and attack them. The pilot guy was not bad, but he would just like swoop in and do like a bombing run, which was okay, but
go away.
Yeah, and then he'd come back like he was on a cooldown, but they didn't. I feel like if you were playing stealth, he didn't really help with that because it's like, oh, explosions now. Everyone's alerted to like you're in the area, and I don't know. In Far Cry, I like taking everyone out James Bond style. Like they don't even know I'm there, and I've taken out the whole freaking place. It's a Far Cry game. It's very pretty. It feels good. I don't know what to say. It's kind of a known quantity. The scenery is obviously different. It was really awesome in the middle of this town. You've got your binoculars. You can mark guys, and they show up in your radar like every other game. There's like a big gas tanker in the middle of town. So, of course, I had to blow that up because
two doesn't, you can't leave it there.
Yeah, he doesn't want destruction. Game. I accidentally shot some freaking civilians because I didn't realize the civilians with circles over their head, white circles, were civilians. I just thought they were enemies that weren't alerted to my presence because they weren't red. No penalty, mowing down these guys, trying to run to their car. They're like blatantly running away, and I'm like, die.
Son of a bitch.
I suck. I don't know if I had to adjust the controls. I don't know if the sensitivity was too high. I found I really sucked at trying to get headshots.
Let me guess, playing with a controller?
Yeah, I can't even remember what kind of controller I was playing with.
Doesn't matter. It was a controller.
I can't remember. I want to say it was an Xbox One controller. So I don't know.
Did you have a keyboard and mouse, man?
No, there was no keyboard. Well, there was keyboard and mouse, but I don't think. I think it was.
What's wrong with you?
Was there a keyboard? No, there wasn't a keyboard and mouse. Trust me, there was a keyboard and mouse. I would have played it on keyboard and mouse because I've played all the Far Cry's on PC. That was the one thing I did notice. I could tell it wasn't on a PC. As good as it looked. Now, I don't know if it was a TV, because the thing that sucks about some of these demos, and this is nothing against Ubisoft or Far Cry in general, I find like they put your fucking face right in the TV. Like, you're so close to the monitors that I actually kind of get a little woozy because I'm too close to the screen, and they got you playing on like 50-inch screens or whatever, right?
I feel that's a bit of a problem with just those trade shows in general.
Yeah, like you're too close, and it's like it doesn't feel right sometimes. So maybe it was just that I was so close to the screen that I was just seeing the dimples. You know, it wasn't anything to do with the game not looking as good as it could.
Yeah,
I really probably got a lot. This was the last day. We were freaking done.
I'm sure everybody there was.
We
also
were so tired,
done.
so I didn't even think to ask, "What am I playing on? Is this a PC or is this Xbox One X?"
Right.
I do like the companions, and I do like the scenery change. I am excited for Far Cry 5. It is kind of a known quantity, though. We know the general gameplay mechanics here. It's not groundbreaking. The new companions do definitely add something, though, which is kind of nice.
That's awesome.
And you can jump on vehicles, and you can fly and do all that stuff like you could with every other one.
Right.
So they have all that fun stuff as well.
Oh, makes sense. Fair enough.
What else? I think that's about it. Yeah, most of it was still E3 follow-up. I had a little more time to decompress. I'm not used to being back at all. And besides playing Nex Machina for a couple times the last couple days, I played some Battlegrounds when I got back. My brother-in-law bought it, so Now I played our first couple duo matches. Our first game, we got 10th.
Oh,
so not bad. He didn't kill anyone. He had no idea where anyone was coming from, so he's got to practice a little bit. But it was great because he was drawing out their fire, and I was killing guys left, right, and center.
sweet.
I had some of my, I don't know. I think on the high end, I think the most I've ever gotten kill-wise is 6 in that game. Like, you don't get a lot of kills unless you're really lucky because combat's kind of tough.
Right.
Because you can die quite quickly, right? It's not like an arcade shooter.
Yeah.
It's airing more on a Counter-Strike side, kind of, you get headshot, you're done.
Yeah. I mean,
so
yeah.
When you have a lot of kills, that's a really good run. So anyway, I got like 4 or 5 kills in the couple games that we were going at because guys would be shooting at him and it's like, oh, there he is. And I would just pick them off, which was kind of cool because I'm always by myself. So you don't have a fucking target dummy to draw fire from yourself.
Yeah, fair enough. Still chasing that chicken dinner though, eh?
No, I still haven't got it. I did get some chicken dinner in fucking LA though. I had some Chick-fil-A.
Oh yeah, how was it?
Oh, so good. I wish we had that here. I also had
give it time.
I also had In-N-Out Burger as well.
I've heard good things.
Yeah, I think Five Guys is better.
Oh,
I had it like, I think one of the times I went to E3 a really long time ago, and I remember it being better than it was. So I don't know if it's just because it's been around for so long. Maybe the quality's gone down, but it was fine. It was fine. It's really cheap. Like a combo is like $5-something for like a cheeseburger combo.
Wow.
With fries and a drink. So it wasn't like crazy expensive. It was fine. I honestly think Five Guys is better though. Don't no one out there kill me. And Chick-fil-A was effing amazing.
Fair enough.
I went there twice. I went out of my way to go there the last day that I was there before I left.
Sounds like it was an awesome trip.
Yeah, it was freaking cool, man. Everyone was awesome. Like all the freaking PR people, Nintendo, Ubisoft. Ubisoft was amazing. They were fantastic. They're always good to us. I don't know why. And then Sony came through in the end when I didn't think they were going to. Nintendo was dope. I also got to meet some new people from Nintendo that I had that I only have made contact with through email, which was cool. So it's really cool to put, faces to names.
Yeah, that's
the girl who gave us our demo, Julie. She actually works for Nintendo, but she works for Nintendo Canada, and she does like Eastern Canada, like Quebec and Montreal.
Oh, okay.
She's got to be my favorite PR person. She remembered me from when I was at E3 4 years ago.
Oh, wow.
She's super cute, but she's like totally infectious. Her like excitement, like she literally like loves her job. Like she's just super happy, giant smile, and she just like makes you happy. Her enthusiasm is so infectious. And it's like we have our demo and we're like saying bye, and I'm like, I just have to hug you. And she's like, okay. It was so funny. It's because she's so excited. How could you not be? Especially when you've got like a dope job working for Nintendo. Especially when the Switch is kicking so much butt right now. Like you can't help but be super happy with all these cool games coming out.
Yeah, they're doing really well at the moment.
Yeah, I like the way they do their demos. I think they do their demos the best. Like they have a shitload of kiosks in a separate area with basically all their games loaded up on it. And you just, I want to play this. Okay. I want to play this. Okay.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Seems like a good way to do it. That's
dying to play Odyssey again. Ever since I played it, I want to play it more. It was hands down my favorite game of the show.
Wow.
It was so much fun. Can't wait until that game comes out.
I've been hearing good things. I've also been hearing sort of weird things. So just how sort of strange it is.
It's awesome. It's so awesome. I noticed you wrote on here Smite.
Oh God. Yeah. I don't know what happened there.
Let's not talk about it then.
I've been playing so much Heroes of the Storm, and I'm really enjoying it, but trying to make that transition from playing bots and AI into actual
real
people is rough for me. Just
hate yourself?
I always no, you know what it is? I always even and this happens to me even when I'm playing AI, but it's 100 times worse when I'm not playing AI, obviously. But the thing that always happens to me is I lose track of one, I lose track of my cursor, and two, I lose track of
the worst.
What the hell is like going on as far as where my character's at and where I should be clicking, and then the next thing I know, I think I'm clicking over here, but really my mouse is in the wrong spot.
You're on the map,
and
that's
I'm
what always happens to me.
And and then it's like, oh shit, and then it's not a good scene. So those are all things that I don't have to worry about with Smite, which I really like. And yeah, I don't know. I loaded it up again. There's a whole bunch of new heroes that have been added to the game. They've added what they've called an adventure mode, which is you take characters from the Smite game and you're playing almost like a dungeon mode with them. So you and two other people
that sounds like it could
pick
be fun.
Characters, and then you go through and you attack enemies and gain loot and fight bosses and see how far in the dungeon you can get. So I actually played a bunch of that, and it was a lot of fun as well.
I still have to play Smite. I've never played it. I've loaded it up multiple times and I've never played it.
It is honestly, the game is, it's addicting,
we know it's
and I've played it every friggin' day this week so far.
So you dropped HOTS then?
I haven't touched HOTS in a few days. I've totally gone back to Smite now, and it's so good. The third person perspective and the actual fact that I can attack enemies, and it's not just clicking here and hoping my attack's gonna hit. It's there feels like there's more skill involved in a way. And it works super well for me as I think predominantly a first person shooter player. I tend to not get as lost and stuff like that. And also I think it's funny though, because I actually think playing HOTS has actually maybe made me a better Smite player.
Huh.
'Cause like I've been wrecking shop. I've been playing, to be fair, I haven't played any of the 5-on-5. That's their Conquest match, which is 5-on-5.
Yeah.
Those games just, they take such a large time is the big thing that the big issue I kind of have with them is I might need an hour or more for one of those matches to go all the way through. And it sucks. Whereas the Joust, which is 3-on-3, is like, they're usually a little longer than a match was in HOTS, but not that much longer. Like if you have a 20-minute match, that's starting to get pretty long. But if you have a 25-minute match, that's pretty much about as long as it's going to ever go. You're usually between 15 and 20 minutes. And that's playing against real people, not just AI. So, yeah, and obviously having access to all of the characters is awesome. I've been really enjoying that. They've obviously introduced a ton of characters. I think they have 80 gods in that game now.
Holy crap.
I know.
I didn't even know they had that many.
Yeah, and they're still offering, if people are out there and they're on the fence or whatever, they still offer the pay it for, I think it's like $30 or $40 and play every god, get to play every god that is currently in the game and that they will add in the future, which is super cool. So yeah, it is honestly a solid game, and I stop playing it from time to time, and I go play other things, and that's totally fine, and it's good, and I'm glad I do it. But man, it definitely pulls me back, and every so often, it's like I just remember how great that game is. And then I play it a bunch, and then I'll probably stop playing for a while or whatever, but I like having that option to play shorter games, but I really do enjoy that format of play. Like, I do enjoy the, that MOBA gameplay, if you will. So,
yeah,
kind of allows me to do that. And yeah, you totally should. I know I said it before, like, freaking load that up and play it with me.
So hard. So many freaking games.
There's so many good games. I know it is. It's super hard.
So, yeah, like, what else? ARMS came out, and I really like that, and Injustice 2, and it's just like, I want these games, but I have no time to freaking play them, so I'm not kidding myself and picking up anything else. Considering my pile of shame has been getting pretty freaking big. I'd say that's it for what you've been playing.
Yeah,
I think I've gone over everything that I played at E3.
Fair enough.
I might remember something. It was such an eventful week that it was such a blur at the same time. So some stuff might come back to me as like, oh yeah, I got to play that too.
Oh yeah, there's that thing that happened, and yeah, I could see that.
I think that's it for what you've been playing. I guess we can get into news. There's not a lot, obviously, because we're in the shadow of E3 here.
Everybody kind of blew their load at E3.
Yeah, there's been a few things we may have missed, and we'll talk about next week as, I'm adjusting to being back, and Dane's getting back in the swing of things as well. We'll have more to talk about next week, of course.
Always.
But, Pokemon Go is getting a big patch for anyone who still plays that. They're revamping gyms and adding co-op raids. Now, they haven't rolled it out to anyone. They're rolling it out over the next few weeks. I actually played this stupid game today to see if any of this stuff was available. I didn't notice anything new when I was playing. So,
right.
Yeah, they changed the gyms in that you can actually chip down gym Pokemon. Like, say you can't beat the gym, you can actually weaken them though, so you are helping your team progress against that gym. So say it's a really powerful gym. So if you saw like huge Pokemon that were way more powerful than yours, you just wouldn't even bother. You'd be like, there's no point.
Of course.
Now you can actually, you could damage and bring down their overall strength so that the next person that comes along, or your next teammate, or you could essentially keep chipping them down to a range that you could eventually, that might be a little a waste of your resources, but you could do that. And then they have like big raid bosses, which basically a bunch of people take them down. I don't know how many. I don't even know how that's going to work. Apparently they were demoing that somewhere around E3, but I didn't see it, so I'm not sure how that works. So I don't know. Stupid Pokemon Go. God damn it. That stupid game. Apparently PvP battles are coming as well, but that's not in this update.
Freaking listening to Jeff Gertzman over there at the Giant Bombcast talking about his stupid clickers, and I may or may not have freaking downloaded a stupid clicker game on my phone, and I've been playing that. It's been stupid, but I'm still playing it. I don't know why, but I am. It's so dumb.
It is dumb. Those games are dumb. I installed one of the
click, and I
installed one of the cookie ones on my PC. We talked about this.
Oh god, I played frickin' Cookie Clicker like crazy back in the day.
Yeah, I think we talked about that a year ago or something.
Oh yeah,
they're so dumb.
Yeah, but it's kind of addictive. You hit a certain point where you pretty much just connect in and check and see how many things you've had happen and stuff, and then you just buy more and come back later. Like, it's stupid.
Actually, a funny thing with I'm going to rewind a bit with Pokemon Go. Apparently, cheaters people who cheat to catch Pokemon, their Pokemon will like be branded, so it's obvious that you're a cheater.
What?
Yeah.
How do you cheat?
I guess when you spoof your location.
Oh.
If you're using tracking apps and stuff. I don't know how they do it. But yeah, apparently they brand your Pokemon.
Okay. Interesting.
That is kind of funny.
But I mean, how? So then, would people see it if you're at?
I guess if you're a Pokemon
Like
or in
if you're
gym,
in a gym?
yeah,
Okay.
they'll know you're a
So then they would know
you're
that dude's a dirty cheater.
Yeah. Where are we at? Nintendo Switch had a big update. I actually haven't turned on my Switch since I got back. I probably should. A bunch of changes.
I haven't actually downloaded and installed that yet either.
Notably, one of the useful changes, which I would actually use, is they added. They fixed an issue where I used to have my Switch docked, and then I'd be playing PS4, and then my TV would automatically switch to the Switch input while it was just charging in sleep mode. And it's like, oh, that's rad.
Right.
I'm in the middle of something I can't pause. Fuck, thanks. Switch. And then you switch back to the input, and then a couple of minutes later, it does the same thing. So there's one of the patch notes is improvements to prevent unintended HDMI input change when docked in sleep mode. And that's exactly what happened to a lot of people.
Yeah, I've heard that some people, especially depending on your TV, some TVs were a lot worse than others.
More newer TVs, because all the new TVs have that auto switching when you turn on a device. And I've turned it off on all my devices because I honestly hate it. It seems convenient, but the problem is it's cool. You hit your PlayStation button, your PS4 turns on, your TV turns on.
Right.
Not cool when you switch over to your Xbox and then it turns your TV off because your TV's on. So it's kind of, sometimes you get a mishmash of, they're talking, but they're not talking, going, hey, I'm already on, idiot, I don't need to turn off. So that's what was happening to me.
Sometimes it's only like one input will be set up like that. The rest of them won't. So it's like if that device is already on and then you click onto another one. Yeah. I hear you.
It's like, no, I don't. God damn it. I don't want to be on that input, you stupid thing. So I turned it off on all my systems. I'm like, I'm just going to manually control the power because, it's all wireless. It's still pretty simple. I don't need to automate everything. It's they added, there's a bunch of stuff here, something to do with controller. I don't want to read the whole thing, but it's a pretty significant system.
Yeah, it's their first real significant one since it's been out, really.
Launch. Yeah, listening to last week's episode, man, we were wrong on a lot of Nintendo stuff. I was talking about like, oh yeah, they're going to talk about their online. Nope, they didn't.
Oh,
they're going to sneak preview. Nope, they didn't. There's a lot of stuff they didn't do.
What surprised me about the Nintendo, especially their, I don't even know if we want to call it a press conference, but if we're going to call it a press conference, then sure. One of the things that really threw me about their quote unquote press conference was normally in years past, they've been super careful about only really talking about things that are coming out soon or soon-ish.
Yeah, really. Everything they showed was stuff coming out, no ETA.
Yeah, like some of it was, we're talking years.
Yeah, like Metroid.
Some of
Metroid's
this stuff,
not going to be out next year.
No, we're talking Metroid's probably 2, 3, maybe longer. Like, it could be a long ways from now. Hard to say, but I mean, all they said was Metroid is in development. They didn't even say, like, all we got was a screen that said Metroid 6
4
and in development, Metroid Prime 4, in development. That's all it said. There wasn't even a cinematic. There wasn't anything, which kind of surprised me. I was amazed that they would announce that so early. I figured that you probably could have held that off for at least another year and maybe had a little bit of something to show.
Just listening to that podcast, I'm like, man, they didn't announce anything about the online stuff. Like, we have no idea.
No.
Nothing to do with
and I didn't think they were gonna.
I thought they would.
I was hoping they were.
Yeah, I don't. So it's like, what's the deal? What's the deal with the free games?
Well, and
the old school games and.
Well, and I think that the thing is that right now I don't think that they know, and I think that the announcement earlier in the year where they talked about that it's coming, but that it's not coming till next year, allowed them to buy time so that they didn't have to announce anything really.
Splatoon comes out next month, right?
Yep. Splatoon 2. I believe.
July,
next month.
Yeah. Huh.
So, but yeah, some of those other ones, like they talked about the, I was just amazed. I'm not saying that other people don't do that. I mean, Sony's obviously fairly notorious for that. Like Sony's last year, they showed off a bunch of games that were
was all like 2018.
Yeah. And to be fair, they blew through a lot of their games already that got released earlier this year.
Microsoft did the best job of and Bethesda of games that are coming out this year.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we know Crackdown 3 is coming out this year.
Forza's coming.
Forza's on the way. That's coming out. Obviously, the Scorpio,
the Xbox
aka the Xbox X. Yeah, exactly. The Xbox.
It's funny how it just abbreviates to Xbox.
Yep. Xbox One, aka Xbox. So, Xbox One X.
Man, I'm kicking a buzz right now.
You're such a lightweight.
I'm on my third drink. I am a lightweight.
I don't even know why you bother pouring it into well, I guess you're mixing it, but...
I'm mixing it, but I feel kind of funky. I didn't have the biggest dinners, but I'm also a lightweight. It feels good, though. I'm not, drunk. I'm just yeah. Feels nice. I think it's kind of funny. I normally don't drink this much. I usually only have one drink, and I just keep pouring and topping it up.
That's hilarious.
I think I need it to recover.
There you go.
What else? SEGA forever. SEGA was teasing this big freaking thing. SEGA forever. Anyway, it turns out SEGA forever is basically their classic games on mobile. They released 5 today with more coming. Android.
Great. Those are free, are they not?
Android and iOS, they're free.
Wow.
Ad supported.
I wonder how they'll play without a controller.
They play fine. I downloaded Altered Beast, which is the worst game in the world. And it seemed to play okay. It just forced you to watch it forced you to watch an ad when you launched the game.
Oh, okay.
And then it forced you to watch an ad if you wanted to use the cloud save. You can buy them. I think they were $2 something. I can't remember
Interesting.
They were a weird number.
So you can play them ad free.
You can buy them and play them ad free. I was going to go and download Sonic, but I didn't get to it. They seem fine. The production value on the emulator or whatever they're using to play them was cool. It had a neat layout. It's got cloud saves and you have to sign up for an account.
You got to sign up for their service or whatever.
Yeah, if you wanted to have, I think it was if you wanted more than one cloud save. If you buy the games, you can save locally. I think there's some other features if you bought them as well, but none of these are games that I'm going to buy. I was surprised at how well it played, even though considering Altered Beast is the worst game in the world. There's a link. I posted a story this evening. There's a link you can click on and you can download the games on iOS or Android, and there will be more. That's cool.
Sweet.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, no kidding.
Blizzard announced that the Necromancer is coming to Diablo 3 June 27th. So the Rise of the Necromancer, it's a pack. It's not really an expansion. June 27th for $14.99 US dollars.
Don't you have to have...
You have to have Diablo 3.
Reaper of Souls?
You have to have
right.
Reaper of
So you have to
Souls.
have the last expansion pack in order for that to work. Huh.
Trying to see what's included. Full access to the Necromancer class, campaign and adventure, non-combat pet, themed banner, sigil, accent, portrait frame, pennant, 2 additional character slots, 2 additional stash tabs. There are other features that are coming that are free. Challenge Rifts, Shrouded Moors Zone, Temple of the Firstborn Zone, and Realms of Fate. That's all stuff that's free. I don't even know what that really is. The Challenge Rifts are the random, really difficult dungeons. I don't think... It's not like an expansion. I don't think there's any story mode content. It's basically just the Necromancer. And that he's playable in all the other existing modes for Diablo 3. So...
okay.
And then they're repackaging a whole collection, which is Diablo 3 with Reaper of
all
Souls,
the expansions and everything else.
And the Necromancer pack for $40 American.
Wow. I can't believe the legs that game has had.
All Blizzard games, man, they fucking go forever.
It's crazy to me. It's like, it's no wonder they can never make another fucking game.
It's because they keep just adding content. They just keep...
like, on one hand, it's amazing, and I love that. But on the other hand, it's just like,
They support their games unlike no one else in the industry.
Except for maybe Valve.
I guess, but even then, I still think Blizzard's number one at it.
Dude, they're still releasing balance patches for Team Fortress 2.
Yeah, but it's not...
That game came out...
These guys are adding...
2000... What would have that been? 2006?
These guys keep adding new content.
2004?
Like real new content.
Like... Yeah, but again, we're talking... Team Fortress 2 is like 10 years old, plus. Game came out in... It had to have been 2004? A long time ago.
Yeah. I think... actually, we're not done. I shared a photo gallery for my photos for E3, so you can find that on the Facebook page, or actually just go to the site, Geekoholics.com, or my Twitter. I shared it a bunch of places. If you want to see some photos from my crazy adventure, I posted a bunch of them. Some of the good ones. A lot of selfies and pictures of all the cool people that I met.
Nice.
At E3. That's it for news. No PSAs. And you just...
I actually have a PSA.
Oh, you have a PSA?
If you're an Amazon
I was gonna
Twitch
bring this
Prime
up.
member, you can get a free Overwatch Legendary loot box.
Yeah, I got one.
So did I. So
Guaranteed legendary item for Overwatch.
Yeah.
What'd you get?
I got a skin for the dude that shoots grenade launchers. Or the dude... Junkrat.
Yeah, I got the legendary skin for Mercy.
Oh, nice.
That's
super cool, except that I will probably never play... I rarely play as Mercy, so...
Yeah, I was thinking they gave me a freaking legendary Mercy skin because they looked at my stats and was like, this asshole never plays support. Fuck this guy. If we give him a legendary skin, he might actually play support.
Yeah, maybe.
Cheapy D got the same skin I saw on his Twitter. So I thought that was kind of funny. At first, when I saw that he got that and then I got that, I'm like, maybe it's not so random, but then you said you got a different one, so it must be.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, so if you're a Twitch Prime or an Amazon Prime member, link your account to your Twitch account, and this is one of the monthly freebies that you get. And actually in August, they're giving away, you're going to get 5 loot boxes. And then again in October, I think, another 5 loot boxes as well.
Yeah, it sounds like you're going to be able to...
I got, I don't know if it's still available. If you log into Twitch and you're an Amazon Prime member, there's a little icon on the top of the screen, your Twitch page, and you click on it and it shows you all the Prime bonuses. I don't know if it's still available, but last month I got a bunch of cosmetic stuff for PUBG. There's like a whole Twitch inspired like outfit, like a ski mask, t-shirt, and pants and boots.
Very cool.
And they actually give away games
for me,
on the
so
Twitch
useful,
launcher.
but for you playing that, super cool.
Yeah, on the Twitch launcher, I think I've gotten 3 or 4 games through being a Twitch Prime member. I think last month they just gave away Gone Home on PC. The only problem is they're not like Steam codes. You have to download the Twitch launcher and install them through the Twitch launcher, which kind of sucks, but whatever. I get free games are free games.
Sweet.
You can also
can't complain.
You can also subscribe to a Twitch channel once every 30 days. You get a free Twitch sub, so you can toss some money to your favorite streamers. Like last month, I subscribed to Mike and Stacy's channel with my freebie.
I may or may not have subscribed to theirs as well.
Yeah, it's free money. May as well give it to someone who helps.
Yeah, absolutely. Somebody who's living the dream.
Ooh, so that's it for news, PSAs, free for all. You wrote down Wonder Woman. I have not seen it.
The fuck is wrong with you?
I was at E3. I didn't have time to go watch Wonder Woman.
No excuses.
That
movie is rad.
I should have gone and watched it in 4DX.
Like, seriously, that movie is awesome.
I hear good things. Is it awesome because the DC bar is so low, or is it actually a good movie?
That movie is an awesome movie that just so happens to... No, it's a dope movie. It's a great movie. My wife and I went and saw it. We saw it in... what else do we... We saw it in AVX.
Ultra AVX.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And no joke, like, we finished watching that movie. My wife turned to me and she was like, holy shit. Can we watch it again?
Yeah, your wife doesn't seem like the type that would really like that movie that much.
She was a big fan.
That's awesome. I want to see it. We were going to go watch it on Father's Day, but that was like my first day back. And from E3, and I'm like, I kind of just want to stay home with my baby. I've actually been missing you guys a bit. I was gone all week.
Yeah, fair enough.
So we were going to watch, so I might watch it this weekend. Yeah, people at E3 were going crazy for that movie.
It was, honestly, it's one of those things where, like, yeah, I can sit here and hype it, and it was great. But, like, honestly, it was a really good movie. And this is coming as a fan who, like, I don't mind. I wasn't one of the people that minded a lot of the DC stuff that they've done so far.
I don't hate any of the DC stuff. It's just,
I actually really liked the first Superman movie that they made.
Yeah.
I thought, like I actually really liked that one. I thought that was a really well done.
Like, if
Superman
the Marvel
movie.
stuff didn't exist, they would be considered good movies. Because the Marvel stuff is fantastic. They get compared to it, so it's...
Yeah. The thing for me, though, is that tonally...
Oh, they're
DC
so different.
Feels so different.
Oh, absolutely. That's night and day.
And then everybody hates on them because they don't feel like a Marvel movie. And it's like, well, have you read a DC comic in the last little while? Because they don't feel like a Marvel comic. Like Batman, he's a dark fucking
like
dude.
Assault on Asylum,
even,
the cartoon. People are getting headshotted with blood splatter. Like DC's.
Yeah, that was a rated R cartoon essentially.
DC is definitely a different vibe. So
so then,
but it is hard not to compare,
about,
regardless. But still, yeah.
Oh, sure. So no, that aside, I
Was Wonder Woman violent?
Oh yeah,
like graphically violent,
no,
or
yeah, there's blood and stuff. It's not the same level as what you would not even expect, but what you'd sort of seen from some of the other ones. But there was definitely some violence. They did a really good job of keeping the tone of a DC film. That grit was still there. It was still kind of dark and things like that, but so good. But it still had hope. And I think that is one thing that a lot of people have sort of said, like, this was a movie that it felt like there was light at the end of the tunnel. It felt like there was a reason why she was doing that. It wasn't just, I don't know, like a lot of the other films, they were kind of hopeless in a way. It was like Superman.
Yeah, dark,
this
brooding,
guy that
and
can
depressing.
Destroy, or and and it's not so much that he's a hero that he wants to be a hero. It's almost like he has to be one, and he almost feels required, and and it was this whole thing. Whereas this is like she's a character that wants to be a hero. Like, she wants to help save the world. She wants to make a difference. She wants to make things better. And all of that is, I think it just so good. And I think that they did a really fantastic job as well of pointing out some of those stupid tropes when it comes to just men and women. There's, cause she ends up in London during World War I. And the fact that she's a strong, confident woman who doesn't need people to tell her what she can and can't do and things like that, which is completely different than London at the time, right? Like, women were seen and not heard, and all of this kind of stuff. And she doesn't understand at all. And I think that they did an awesome job of kind of pointing that out and going like, why? Like, why is this even now? Like, and I think it was cool. I thought it was great. It was a dope movie. You really see that Wonder Woman is a fucking badass. Like, the first time you watched The Last Man of Steel with Superman, there's a moment at a certain point when you kind of go, holy shit, like, Superman is fucking crazy. And I feel like that was one thing that movie did really well, was sort of show you just how powerful Superman really is. And I feel like this movie did an amazing job of that with Wonder Woman. Like, people make fun of like, oh, her lasso of truth and her shield and like her gauntlets, like, oh, what are those gonna do? And then you watch Wonder Woman, you go, holy shit, that's what they do. In a good way. And the character, I've always kind of liked Wonder Woman. I thought she was a cool character, but now I have like a whole newfound respect for her as just not just a movie, but as a character in the comic books. Which is cool. And I like that when I see that in films.
She's definitely cool.
Yeah.
And she's hot.
So definitely go see that movie.
I'm going to see it. I will watch it. I'm pretty sure we'll watch it this weekend.
It's super, super worth checking out.
I've heard nothing but good stuff, so
if you've got an opportunity to see it in
some
IMAX
some parts that are like, but that's all Hollywood movies with super special effects going overboard, but it's not enough not enough to detract from the movie still being really good.
Yeah. So no, it was great. And like I said, if you're even remotely on the fence, go see it. It's great.
With that, I'm going to say we're done.
That's a show.
Episode 112 is in the gigabits, the internet, the ether, your ear holes. You can follow me on Twitter at RickF, RICF, no K. I said that backwards. Rick F, no K, RICF. That's what I meant to say.
You can always come bug me on Twitter at DaneCody, at DAYNECODY. Like Rick was saying earlier, you can always come bug us on Facebook. Hit us up on our website.
The most direct way to interact with us,
Geekoholics.com.
obviously, is going to be Twitter, though. Absolutely.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
where we are daily and super active. So if you want to give us shit, you want to give us a question, a comment, concern, that Twitter is the number one place. But of course, we're Geekoholics on Instagram, Facebook, the YouTubes, the Twitter as well. And thank you to the few people out there who gave us some iTunes reviews. We got some new ones. I was on there today because I'm like, God damn it, I keep asking people to give us reviews. No one gives us reviews. And we actually had a few extra reviews since the last time I checked it. So thank you if you've left us a review on iTunes. I've been doing a bunch of researching on the internet, and as sad as this stat may be to us Android men out there, or boys and girls, 70% of podcasts are listened to on Apple devices. iTunes reviews are a huge traffic builder for podcasts. So if you're out there and you got an iTunes account, whether it be on your computer, PC, or you do have an iPhone and Apple Podcasts, we would greatly appreciate it if you can leave us a review, positive or negative. And yeah, that does wonders for traffic and helping us get new listeners. And for those of you who did it already, thank you again. Yeah, until next week, I'm going to say we are out.
Catch you later.
Peace.